What does it take to beat a video game? In some cases, all it takes is a few hours and a well-written strategy guide. For other, crueler games, however, you may never reach that final victory screen, no matter how hard you try. Here are a few games that you'll probably never ever beat. NieR Automata. It takes only about 15 hours to finish NieR Automata's main campaign, but that's hardly the end of the game. In fact, the first time that you see the credits, you're only about a third of the way through the post-apocalyptic Android adventure. If you want to truly beat the game, you'll need to play through again, observing events from a different character's point of view. Then, you'll have to begin a third playthrough, which unlocks the second half of the story and introduces yet another playable character. And even then, you're still not done. Take a few more steps and you'll unlock the game's fourth ending, but as the credits roll, the game transforms into a nearly impossible bullet hell shooter. Finish that, and no matter how many times the game asks, don't give up, and you'll finally get the best ending. It's not hard to get the final ending, but it takes many hours and it's not easy to find without help, which is totally on purpose. Daggers. Players who cut their teeth on 90s shooters like the original Doom and Quake should feel right at home in Daggers, the throwback first-person shooter from indie developer Sorath. The premise is simple: kill everything that moves as quickly as possible. If you fall off the level or make contact with an enemy, that's it, back to the beginning. In order to master the only achievement in Daggers, you don't have to reach the end of the level. You just have to survive against increasingly difficult waves of enemies for a total of 500 seconds. You can upgrade your weapons, but as the clock counts down, it barely matters. The amount of space you have to move around in shrinks while the number of enemies grows. Only 0.1% of players have managed to last for the 8.33 minutes needed to secure the game's only form of victory, and after that, you'll still die anyhow. Darkest Dungeon. Many role-playing games send a group of adventurers into a dungeon to search for treasures, but few explore the psychological trauma that results from spending an extended amount of time in the monster-filled darkness. Darkest Dungeon does. Like usual, characters can be killed by skeletons, necromancers, ghost pirates, and pigmen, but they'll also get increasingly stressed as they head deeper underground, forming neurotic quirks and, in extreme cases, going full-on crazy. Once characters are gone, they're gone for good, and you'll need to train replacements. The dungeon layouts change every time you head inside. Given how important pre-quest preparation is to the game, you'll often find yourself in deep trouble before you even really get started. Since its release in early 2016, fewer than 2% of Steam players have finished the game, and that's on the regular setting. The extra-hard Stygian mode has only a 0.3% completion rate. Persona 5. It's a well-made game that clears the already high bar set by its predecessors, but Persona 5 demands quite a bit of attention. Players without 200 hours to spare may not ever finish winding their way through Persona 5's otherworldly dungeons or navigating its complex social scene. Not only is Persona 5 at least twice as long as your average single-player game, but it has multiple endings too. And if you don't make the right decisions at a few crucial moments, you won't get the real ending. For die-hard fans, that's fine. It's impossible to see everything that Persona 5 has to offer on a single playthrough anyway, but for the rest of us, a single run is daunting enough. Sorry, but looking up the best ending on YouTube is a heck of a lot faster. Spelunky. Everybody loves Spelunky. The original version quickly became a favorite, and the HD remaster won a number of Game of the Year awards, and has appeared on toy shelves, t-shirts, and even other video games. And yet, according to Steam, only about 6% of people have beaten Spelunky without shortcuts. So what gives? The procedurally generated levels play a big part. No two Spelunky runs are going to be exactly the same, meaning that memorizing stage layouts won't help you. Not only are the game's caverns crammed full of monsters that you want dead, but if you dawdle, a ghost appears and hunts you down. Spelunky never explains what its various items do or how its devious traps work either. You have to figure it out for yourself, usually by dying until you get the hang of it. Threes. You can't beat Endless Tetris. You can't beat Bejeweled. So why would anyone assume that you can beat threes? Games like this are usually about racking up high scores, not reaching an ending. And yet, as the minds behind the Threes Porn Twitter account discovered, Threes does end. It just takes a long time to get there. In Threes, players merge numbered tiles to increase their values. Creating the biggest tile in the game, which is worth 6,144 points, takes a really long time. Making two and fusing them together seemed impossible, but it wasn't. Even the developers didn't originally put an ending in the game, figuring that nobody would ever actually get there. 3 1/3 years after Threes made its debut, someone finally discovered the game's hidden ending, quite possibly becoming the first person to do so, at least without cheating. Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.